This week on Arizona Illustrated, Art Moms, a nod to Mother's Day.
You're thrown this curveball, this is what you have, and how do you make this work?
Deployment, military families making the sacrifice.
Saying goodbye will be very difficult, and having to explain to our younger ones that Daddy is not coming home that night.
Bulldog therapy, meaningful connections.
How can anything be so ugly and so wonderful?
And from the vault. Welcome to Arizona Illustrated. I'm Tom McNamara. A big shout out to all the mothers in our audience during this Mother's Day week. It can be a tough job. You know, just managing to pay the bills as an artist can be a challenge. Add kids to the mix and something's got to give, right? Or perhaps a different outlook emerges, a new way of seeing things. Next, we take a very personal look into the lives of three Tucson-based artists and how motherhood influences their art.
I can't imagine not taking a photograph. I really can't. I feel like it would be like I severed a limb or something. Like I just would feel off. My name is Shannon Smith. I'm a photographer, a teacher, a mom.
I have a certain amount of artistic energy and it needs to be being directed somewhere, but where that somewhere is can be different, but it has to be somewhere. My name is Natalie Brewster-Wynn, and I am a performance artist and a yoga teacher. Nice.
I'm Catherine Ide, and I'm an artist and a mom. My mom was an artist, kind of like a Sunday painter that also had 5 kids. So she would bring out her art supplies, and I would be really excited when they came out.
When I was pregnant with Lucy, I guess I had all these ideas like, oh, you know, I'll be an art mom, you know, and it'll be great. She'll be a little artist and we'll do things together. And you don't realize, like, God, she needs me every second.
There's a higher priority in some ways. Like taking care of your kid has to be your highest priority. Having a child really motivates you to make good use of your time.
A lot of people try to keep their work separate from what, you know, their child. This is mine, I'm doing this, and there comes a point where it's kind of like, I felt like you're fighting it.
Okay, I'm just gonna take a test shot, Lucy. I'd get on a shoot, you know, and I'd start doing it, and then, you know, they were in their little pumpkin seat, but again, you know, just the constant, hey, I'm here, pay attention to me, and so that's when I was like, you know what, okay, well, you're just gonna be in it, and it just went from there.
Having a kid is really hard. It's physically difficult on your body. There's a lot of pain involved for everybody. And so doing yoga or doing movement, I never wanted to have that practice be totally separated from my kids. And so I was always trying to find ways to do yoga with my daughter and to do acrobatics with my daughter and have these creative processes.
Nice. We started doing collaborative drawings together where we will collaborate on one piece of paper and share the paper and move the drawing paper around and draw and write over each other's things. Those are what really sparked my interest. I thought that there was something really special to them.
This is a good example of a recreate it one because Lucy's first day of school, of kindergarten, was mayhem, just parents everywhere. And I didn't want to cry in front of her, so I went back the weekend after her first day of school. I just started recreating things I would see that happened in our lives, but at the time, you know, I couldn't stop, you know, and, oh, well, I'm gonna take this picture because, you know, I'll wait on you. You don't need me right now. You know, I'd take care of the kids and then, okay, well, we're gonna recreate this, what you did, but I'm gonna have way better lighting and move things around and have it look the way I want it to look.
The balloon project is called Love Letters Leave No Trace, and it was inspired by the imagery of children's birthday parties. The process of the project is each color palette deals with a particular theme related to childhood development. And then each theme, I choose a text. That text is then exploded onto balloons. And then I give my daughter, or both of my daughters, give them the balloons and set them loose in a landscape and let them install the balloons. And then it sort of becomes the process of what happens then, like what text becomes important, which balloons are the ones that pop and fly away.
No! This is perfect. Natalie, a balloon flew away.
The end result is photographs, right? But it's not really a photography project. It's a collaborative project, and it's like a ritual installation project, and it is a performance in its own way.
I contacted a certain residency and asked them if they would accept teams of a parent and child. They said, we've never done this before, but we're interested. So we started that project in Buenos Aires in June of last year. Let something happen, let the chaos happen, and then I come in and I make order out of the chaos. You know, and I've likened it to motherhood. It's like, you're thrown this curveball, this is what you have, and how do you make this work? How do you make this cohesive and happen and pleasing and wonderful and good, you know, for both of us. My intention was to make really great pieces of art, not just to hang out and play with my daughter with some art stuff. As a fine artist, I wanted the work to be good. I wanted it to be exhibition, you know, quality. And she takes me to a different place.
At the end of the day, it usually isn't what I set out for, but they always do. Like, I always get something out of it. And honestly, what they do, it was better than what I even thought. So, got some pretty good little models. I must pay them well, and Dairy Queen is usually their payment.
1, 2, 3. Children can be a very powerful image if you just mess with the record a little bit. And so it's been a really cool thing.
This is really pretty right here.
I like this part.
There's something magical about children's artwork and that free expression that comes from this natural place that you can't bottle it. Everyone would buy it if you could.
Sometimes I can't imagine them when they do grow up and what am I going to create, but I'm sure I don't need to think about that right now. I'll think about it when it happens and it'll be fine. But when I first had kids, it was hard, and now I can't imagine them not being in my work. I really can't.
I think what I have wanted to pass on to her is a sense of resourcefulness, you know, and that's the most important thing to me. We create art in the end, but what we do along the way is figure it out with what we have available. And I think that that's a really useful process to learn both in art and in life.
All right. Thank you so much.
On any given day, U.S. military forces are deployed on missions around the world, many of them in harm's way. For service members with families, the mission at home comes with its own sacrifices and uncertainty. Last year, we visited with one military family right after receiving deployment orders.
It's a cool winter day in late December as a setting sun falls on the Zurich family home at Davis-Monthan Air Force Base. Tonight, they make cookies. Tech Sergeant Jonathan Zurich is an avionics specialist with the 355th Fighter Wing. He, his wife Nicole, and their 5 children gather in the kitchen to carry on this family tradition.
Gotta love being a mom. It's the best job ever. He took on a woman with 3 kids, so he went into an instant family and had 3 older kids who from day one just had to call him daddy. And he's been daddy ever since. Well, McKenna is our oldest. She's 16. She is a junior, about to be a senior. She wants to be a band leader and a teacher. And we have Kaylee and Jason. They are 13-year-old twins, and with nothing alike. absolutely nothing.
We have a 5-year-old, Matthew. He loves airplanes, so obviously living on the base is just a thrill for him.
Wonder where he got that from.
That would be me. And our youngest, Daniel, he's 2. He suffers from something called mitochondrial disease.
About a year old, he started having seizures, and they diagnosed him with epilepsy. And running some tests, they also found out that he cannot swallow without it going into his lungs. He was aspirating. It is terminal, but every child is different.
He's up and walking now. That's something that they told us he probably wouldn't ever do. We just take great joy in the fact that he is able to do what he does now, and we take it day by day. All of our kids are a blessing, and we're very thankful to have them in our lives.
On this day, family time is most important, as Jonathan has received orders for an overseas deployment.
It just kind of creeped up on us, and it's here, and so saying goodbye will be very difficult, and having to explain to our younger ones that Daddy is not coming home that night and the next night will be very difficult. And I will likely end up with one or all of them in my bed at least every night at some point.
We're gonna need a bigger bed, apparently.
I know.
If you want to take them out to 965 or 654, you can do that.
As part of his ongoing role, Tech Sergeant Zurich works the night shift. This is the A-10 flight line at DM. Zurich and his fellow airmen work round the clock to keep these planes ready for the pilots who fly them and the mission ahead.
The Dragons have an extra forward section for a pod.
He's currently serving as an expediter with the 355th Aircraft Maintenance Squadron, work he will continue during deployment.
I am good with turnover whenever you are. We just use a logbook to keep track of the status of the jets and pass on what work is actively being done, as well as to keep a paper history. Right.
So they're going to pull it in the bay, and then we're going to throw a Tiger team on it. It's going to be Gino on days, Harry on nights.
This happens between each shift in order to ensure the continuity.
Yeah, 3 FMC pods.
In the back, Sergeant Guffey and Sergeant Maganotti, they bear the brunt of our avionics work.
My job simply consists of divvying out the tasks for the night and ensuring that the technicians have everything that they need.
Super 6.
Good.
Raj, 168 spot is up. Good to go for configs. Guys are moving on to palletizing those.
At this point, looking at the calendar is the hardest part. A couple short weeks, I'll be heading out the door.
Copy, thanks.
We're just like any average family, average struggles. We don't ship our husbands off to work going, all right, go get them. You know, it's more of a keep us safe.
The family support is very, very vital to military members, whether male or female, going out there and doing our job and making sure the mission can happen.
Simple things like a family meal, decorating a Christmas tree, or a father's hug are cherished moments, especially when time is short.
When we're together, it's awesome. When we are we do family nights all the time. A lot of time we watch movies because that's like our favorite thing to do. So it's gonna be hard without him, them being gone for so long. I like that my dad's serving his country, but in reality, it's pretty difficult. Even if we personally aren't in the military, it's still hard being in the family.
Nice and tough.
I'm scared. I know he's very scared, but it's because now that I'm older, I can actually understand it more than when I was little. But it's just that's all that goes through my head. And I just told him not to go.
I'll be missing their birthdays while I'm gone, as well as Mother's Day in May. And
anniversary.
Our anniversary.
Your birthday.
So those are some of the things that definitely add to the struggle. But at the same time, the freedom that we enjoy in this country is very much worth the sacrifice.
Tech Sergeant Zurich and his fellow service members are here to begin the process of deployment to Turkey in support of a combined joint task force named Operation Inherent Resolve, a multinational effort designed to weaken and destroy ISIS.
Everyone, listen up. Once you get your bags, report over here to do the inventory.
The gas mask and then the cardboard box.
All right.
So you should be all set. And then
Airman First Class Jessica Sellison helps service members inventory their protective equipment.
Sleeping bag, canteen, web belt, their gas mask, which is an important thing for their deployment, our joint service first aid kit, ammo pouches, M4, M16, J-list coats, so the suits that they'll wear if there was ever a chemical attack, coat and trousers.
And the list goes on.
Oh, I still gotta see it. Oh, you gotta see it? Okay, I thought you said then you're good.
They get briefed on what to expect, both here and downrange, and then they also fill out any paperwork, and if there are any other medical things that they need, like immunizations, that they can get those here as well.
They can also pick up a copy of the Quran, the Torah, or the Bible. Captain Phil Holstein is a chaplain at DM, one of 7 who provide spiritual care to airmen and their families.
Typically, everything breaks when one of the spouses is deployed, so the washer, the dryer, the fridge, whatever it is. So it's just the difficulties of being separate, especially if you have small kids. They take it the hardest, I think. At least for me, that was the way it was. Just not seeing Dad for 6 months or a year can be difficult.
Actually, no, we can still take your check.
We can make war as modern and efficient and safe as possible, but that's not going to stop the difficulties of being separate from families.
You are good to go, sir, all right? Awesome.
We put the uniform on to serve, not to sit behind a desk, and yet that's where you have the greatest sacrifice as well.
Several weeks pass and the day is here. Airmen and their families arrive to say their goodbyes. Jonathan Zurich and his family are here too.
Grant. Hanson. Jones. Lopez.
In some ways, it's easier for the member that goes away, at least those in a family, simply because the everyday to day tasks, you don't have to worry about them. I go to work and I fix airplanes and make sure the mission happens. And in all reality, Nicole will have the harder position of the two.
It's okay.
If you have not put your bags on the loader, please do so immediately. They are about to leave, all right? That's all I got right now.
You want to make sure that you don't leave things unsaid. You want to make sure that he knows that he's supported and loved, and the kids get to say that they love him.
I love you.
Love you.
When we're together outside in the community and he's in uniform and he's thanked for his service, it's always an immense amount of pride, and you can see that he feels it. And it's wonderful to know that there are people that do rally around and support our troops. And us back at home, all we can really do is pray for them and love them and support them through it.
U.S. military forces are currently deployed throughout the world, protecting other nations as well as our own. Since our reporting on this story, Jonathan Zurich continues his important work in the United States Air Force. It's been proven pets can provide valuable therapeutic benefits to their owners. When Ellen Morell adopted Lacey 8 years ago, she never imagined where their relationship would lead. They are constant companions, and now they're sharing that bond with others, providing comfort and friendship.
Come on. Come on, let's go get the ball. I'm Ellen Morell, and I'm a chaplain for Harmony Hospice. And this is Lacey, and she's my therapy dog and goes with me to visit my patients. Come on. And we just visit people and enjoy ourselves. Good girl. Good girl. Hi, Donna. This is Ellen from Harmony. I was just checking in to see how you're doing. You've been through a difficult period, and I hope that you will take a day or two to relax and refresh and rejuvenate yourself. I try to check on the diagnosis before I go to see people because sometimes it makes a difference. I have been a dental hygienist, which I did for 10 years. I have been a planned giving consultant, which was lots of fun. Helping rich people give money away is not a bad way to make a living. And then finally, I succumbed to the call from God and became an Episcopal priest. On my way, when I decided to move to Arizona, on my way here, I had another call that said you need to be a hospice chaplain. So I came and applied and got a job, and here I am. Let's go see the veterans. Let's go, come on. You see the puppy, huh?
See her?
Lacey, can you sit? Now, can you wave to little boy? Wave. Good girl. Were you in the Army? We thank you for your service. Because what you did made it possible for us to do what we do. So we really thank you.
This is my husband, Bob Budak. He's a Vietnam vet. He was in the Army. This actually is a wonderful place. We've worked really hard to get him here, and we're very excited. And you notice how alert he got and how excited he was to see Lacey. So he's very receptive to therapy. He's receptive to having people come and talk with him, and he enjoys it. And he smiles. He smiles. Yeah.
Lacey has been my friend, my sidekick for years and years. She's 8 years old. I got her when she was just a puppy. My son had her mother, and I went to see the puppies, but told him I would not, under any circumstances, take a puppy home. And I don't know how it happened, but on the way home, I looked over and there she was. And we have been pretty much inseparable ever since.
So if you go to our website, harmonyhospice.org, and you look at Meet the Employees, Lacey is on the very top. She has her own professional photo, and so we often joke, again, she's the boss.
I read his book, and I thought he was a good man.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I've had lots of dogs in my life. I've always had dogs, and I've loved them, and I've cared for them, but I've never had one that I actually called my sidekick, because Lacey's like that little poem. Remember when you were in grade school? I have a little shadow that goes in and out with me, and what can be the use of it is more than I can see. Well, that's Lacey. Everywhere I go, she goes. If I happen to come in without her, the question always is, where's Lacey? Where's Lacey? Hi. I brought Lacey to see you.
Lacey or Stacy?
Lacey, like lace on your dress, like lace fabric.
Oh, how can anything be so ugly and so wonderful?
I like to tell the story about when I first took her to see some people. There was a lady who had advanced dementia, who could not say anything intelligible, who sort of just chattered all day. I walked in with Lacey, and she looked down at her and said, "Nice dog." So Lacey touches people in many ways that are surprising. More than once, when she's been invited, she's climbed up in bed with somebody and laid with them as they were dying, so that they die with their hand on a nice, soft, furry head. She failed agility, she failed obedience, she really failed motherhood, because it took us 2.5 years to get her pregnant, and then she ended up with 3 living puppies and hated them. Really hated them. Sit, wave, good girl. But she's finally found her calling. She's as good a therapy dog as you could have. Hey, you've made a friend. You know how to make dogs happy.
She's great.
I consider this part of my service to God.
I like animals.
And even though I'm not as religious as a lot of chaplains are, I don't insist that people pray. I don't insist that they find salvation in Jesus. I think this is my ministry to the world and Lacey's ministry to the world. So we're doing this really truly out of a sense of call, as a minister would say.
May 6th kicked off National Travel and Tourism Week, marking the 35th anniversary of the congressional resolution that established its recognition, celebrating the contributions of the U.S. travel industry. Here's a look back at 1988, when Tucson was making its play for summer visitors from the vault.
It's summertime, who needs shoes on anyway? It's a Tucson kind of day.
Tucson in the summer. How hard is it to sell?
We're going to tell anybody that wants to listen that we have special summer packages and that the hotel rates drop drastically, and tie in some other things like all the wonderful attractions that are here.
For a lot of people, when it's hot in Tucson, it's still a lot better than it is back home. It's not too hot a day for you to be out here at Old Tucson?
Not with the breeze, and it's not the humidity from the east.
I love it out here. Love the weather. Love lying out at the pool.
What brings folks out to places like Old Tucson?
I put on my gun and a holster, and then we hopped in a car.
Well, he was here before, so he wanted to come back.
I came here on a short business trip. I want to come back to see it again in a little more detail.
I'm flabbergasted by the difference here. It's a whole different world.
It's a charming place.
Will the tourism business drop off this summer in Tucson, despite the efforts to keep the visitors coming? Well, probably, especially during the month of August, according to Tierney. But he says, as Tucson is hot, so too are the prospects for the convention and tourist business in Arizona and across the nation.
Economists fully believe that by the year 2000, it'll be the biggest business in the country. Already it's the #2 business in Tucson, and it is the second largest business in Arizona.
I've been all over the place, Vegas and Disneyland, Knott's Berry Farm, and Old Tucson now. I'm going home tomorrow, so this is great, great ending.
Summertime, it's a Tucson kind of day.
Send for a free brochure. Right Tucson.
Thank you for joining us here on Arizona Illustrated. I'm Tom McNamara. See you next week.